Welcome back, everyone, to The Deep Dive. This time we're going deep on leadership, societal challenges, and the roles of culture and government. Our sources today: insights from a prominent Indian spiritual leader, A&D, a news analysis about, well, let's just say a bold U.S. government restructuring. Should be fun, huh?
Yeah, it's a really interesting mix. You've got this spiritual leader focusing on inner qualities, things like insight, integrity, inspiration. He argues that true leadership, it isn't about chasing power. It's about naturally rising up by doing good for others.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there for a sec. How can someone rise naturally, A&D take charge? Those seem kind of contradictory, right?
Yeah.
Plus, how often do we actually see leaders who aren't at least a little bit power hungry?
That is a great point, and it gets even trickier when we bring in that news analysis you sent over about Donald Trump's new Department of Government Efficiency.
Hold on, DOGE. They're really calling it that, like the meme, the cryptocurrency.
Yeah, DOGE. It's a real thing, apparently.
Yeah.
The name's a bit out there, but the goal is to slash government spending, cut through all the red tape. Trump's working with Vivek Ramaswamy on this, and get this, Elon Musk's involved too.
All right, so on the surface, efficiency, yeah, sounds great. But this spiritual leader, he had some strong warnings about ambition, even with good intentions.
He did. Seeking leadership just for the sake of power. He was very clear that can be bad news for everyone, so we gotta ask, what are Trump's real motives here?
Especially because some critics are saying this DOGE thing, it's less about efficiency, more about consolidating power, making sure everyone's loyal to him.
And that's the spiritual leader's warning in a nutshell, right? Even if something looks good, that hunger for power can mess up even the best ideas.
So even something like cutting bureaucracy, which in theory we all want, it could be twisted for personal gain. That's kind of unsettling.
Yeah, it is. And this whole dilemma, right? Needing ambitious leaders but fearing their ambition. It's not new. Societies have been wrestling with this forever.
Okay, so we've got this tension between good intentions and the whole power thing. Let's shift gears a bit, though. You mentioned the spiritual leader had some thoughts about India's youth. What's he saying about that?
Well, he's painting a pretty concerning picture, to be honest. He sees a big problem with India's education system, kids not really getting the skills they need.
What, like critical thinking, problem solving, that kind of stuff?
Exactly. He says kids go to school, get promoted even if they aren't learning, and they end up with this, what he calls the attitude of the educated. They have the degree, but not the ability to actually do anything. No marketable skills, no desire to go back to traditional work like farming, just a lot of frustration.
And that frustration can lead to, well, bad things.
That's what he's concerned about. He talked about how this frustration, coupled with a lack of opportunity, it can lead to unrest, even violence. And get this, he mentioned that almost 25% of India is controlled by armed groups.
Okay, that's making me think about those dystopian novels, where society falls apart because the younger generation is lost. And it's not just education, right? He also talks about the physical condition of a lot of young people in rural India.
Right. He points out that while a lot of villages now have cell phones, internet kiosks, modern stuff, a lot of the people themselves haven't developed physically the way they should.
He actually said that 60% of the male population hasn't reached their full skeletal growth, and he links that directly to malnutrition. That's a wild statistic.
Yeah.
So what's his solution?
He believes in building a nation from the ground up, starting with its people. He's got this great quote: "You don't have to build a great nation, you just produce great people, and a great nation will happen."
That sounds nice, but how do you produce great people? Where do you even begin with that?
Well, for him, it starts with tackling the root causes, right? Poverty, lack of opportunity, inadequate education. And he's not talking about just throwing money at the problem. It's got to be a deeper shift in how we think about development, starting with recognizing the value of every single person.
So creating an environment where everyone has a real chance to thrive, not just economically, but in all parts of life, that's a pretty tall order.
It is, and that leads us to another point he makes. You got to have leaders who are willing to embrace power for the right reasons.
Wait, didn't we just talk about how dangerous power can be? This feels kind of contradictory.
It's not as simple as it sounds. He's actually really critical of people who say they're power averse, He's arguing that if you genuinely want to make things better, you got to be willing to step up and lead.
So shying away from power, even with good intentions, could actually be harmful. That's interesting.
He even said this: "If you're clean within you and you have the right intent, why don't you want power? I want all the power in the world. Only then you can do something."
Wow, okay. Bold statement. So he's not saying power's bad. He's saying it depends on the person and what they do with it.
Exactly. It's not about the position. It's about your actions, your vision, and your ability to inspire others to take action.
So less about the title, more about the impact. But how do you cultivate that kind of leadership, both in ourselves and in others?
Well, he talks about the importance of inner qualities like insight, integrity, inspiration.
Okay, but can you break those down a bit? Like, what does that look like in real life?
He says a true leader doesn't chase power. They rise naturally by doing what's good for everyone. They see things others don't, have a clear vision, and they get people excited to take action.
It's like they cut through the noise and focus on what matters, and then they bring others along with them.
That's it. And he emphasizes that inspiration isn't just words, it's action. Leaders show through their behavior that they mean what they say.
So walking the talk, proving you're in it for the right reasons. But how does this all connect back to the cynicism and negativity we talked about earlier?
He believes cynicism comes from a lack of hope, and that real improvements in society, that's what gets people inspired and counters the negativity.
So it's not enough to just talk about change. You have to do something that actually makes a difference in people's lives.
Exactly. And here's where things get interesting. He doesn't offer specific policies, but instead focuses on inner transformation.
Inner transformation, you mean like working on yourself before trying to change the world?
That's it. He even said, if you can't manage this one person, how are you going to manage 1 million people? So working on ourselves is actually essential for effective leadership.
Okay, that's making me think. So inner work is a prerequisite for making a real difference out there.
Exactly. And that leads to another point he makes, taking responsibility for our own experience.
What do you mean by that?
People often blame their unhappiness on external stuff, right? But he argues that we have the power to choose how we respond to those things. He has this awesome quote. I have not given this privilege to anything or anybody around me that they can make me happy or unhappy or miserable. I kept this privilege to myself.
Wow, that's a strong statement. So instead of trying to change the world to fit our expectations, we need to work on our own inner state, be responsible for our own happiness.
Exactly. He believes that this inner freedom is essential for effective leadership. When we're not consumed by fear or needing to control everything, we can act with more clarity, compassion, and courage.
Makes sense.
Okay.
But how do you balance this inner work with, actually doing something out in the world?
That's a great question. It leads us to another important concept, balancing action with acceptance.
So striving to make a difference, but accepting that we can't control everything.
Exactly. He acknowledges that we should strive for success, but also accept that we can't control everything. He had this interesting take. If everything is happening in your life, that means probably you're living in your kitchen. You're not stepped out into the world. If you step out into the world, some things happen, some things don't happen, isn't it?
So taking action means some risk, some uncertainty. You can't expect everything to go perfectly.
Right. And he goes further, saying it's important to find joy in the process, no matter the outcome. He says, if everything that I'm doing in my life falls flat on its face tomorrow morning, I will still live. Still live blissfully and die blissfully. This is assured. So what the hell? Let's do it and see if it works. It works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Pretty bold, right?
That's a powerful statement. Go for it, give it your all, but don't get too attached to the results. I love that.
It's a message of resilience. True fulfillment, he's saying, it doesn't just come from hitting goals, but from the journey itself.
So embrace the challenges, find joy in the process, even if things don't always go as planned. That's great advice for tackling these big issues.
It is. And it leads us to another key point, living a life of purpose.
Okay, I'm listening. What does he say about that?
Well, he believes that having a clear purpose can give you direction, motivation, and that resilience we were just talking about.
Yeah. If you don't know why you're doing something, it's easy to lose steam, give up when things get tough.
Exactly. He encourages people to think about their values, passions, and talents, to find that thing that gets them going. He believes this sense of purpose helps us overcome obstacles and reach our goals.
It's like finding that thing that lights you up, makes you feel like you're making a difference.
Right. And along with purpose, he talks about having a vision for the future.
You mean a clear idea of what we want to create?
Exactly. He said, you have to have a vision, a clear vision of what you want to create. And just as important, he said to not let fear or doubt stop us from chasing our dreams.
Well, that's easier said than done. Fear can be a pretty strong motivator.
He acknowledges that, but he argues that fear often comes from dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. He said, fear is simply because you are not living with life. you're living with the past, or you are worried about the future. His solution: focus on the present and take action.
So shift your focus from what might go wrong to what you can do right now to reach your goals.
Exactly. And this brings us to another important point: the importance of persistence and determination. He argues that success rarely comes easy. It often takes hard work, dedication, and a willingness to keep going through challenges.
So don't expect things to just fall into your lap. You got to be willing to put in the effort.
He put it this way: you have to be relentless. You have to be absolutely determined to make it happen. It's a good reminder that anything worthwhile takes effort and dedication.
I can relate to that for sure. There have been plenty of times when I've wanted to give up, but pushing through those tough moments is often what leads to the biggest breakthroughs.
Absolutely. And he emphasizes that alongside persistence, we also need to be adaptable, flexible, willing to change our plans if we need to.
You mean being willing to change course when things aren't working or when you learn something new?
Exactly. He said you have to be willing to change, to adapt to the situation. He sees this as a crucial skill for getting through the complexities of life and achieving our goals.
Makes sense. Sticking to a plan is important, but knowing when to pivot is just as crucial. But while we're being adaptable, we also need to stay true to our values.
Absolutely. He emphasizes that strongly. He said, you have to have a strong sense of integrity. You have to be willing to stand up for what you believe in. Our values, he believes, they're like a compass guiding us through challenges.
So find that balance, be flexible, but stay true to your core principles.
Exactly. And along with integrity, he talks about being compassionate, understanding towards others, even those who have different views than us.
So trying to see things from their perspective, recognizing that everyone has their own unique journey, their own set of experiences.
He believes empathy and understanding are key to building bridges between people. He said you have to be compassionate. You have to be willing to see things from other people's perspectives.
Makes sense. It's easy to get stuck in our own bubble, but taking time to understand where others are coming from can really change how we interact with the world.
It can. And this focus on compassion brings us back to taking care of ourselves, physically and emotionally.
Wait, so he's saying self-care isn't selfish, that it's actually crucial for showing up for others.
Exactly. He believes that we can't pour from an empty cup. He said, you have to take care of yourself. You have to be healthy and strong. He sees this as the foundation for effective action, for compassion.
That makes sense. If you're burnt out and exhausted, it's hard to be your best self or make a positive impact on the world.
Exactly. And taking care of ourselves, it involves our physical health, managing stress, and nurturing our emotional and spiritual well-being. He even encourages people to actively look for joy, for happiness.
He actually said, you have to be joyful. You have to find things that make you happy. That's not something you hear every day, especially when we're talking about leadership and big societal issues.
It is refreshing, isn't it? He is reminding us that life is meant to be enjoyed, and finding those things that bring us joy, that's essential for a happy and meaningful life.
So find that balance. Work towards a better future, but appreciate the present and find joy along the way.
Exactly. And that leads to another practice he talks about, gratitude.
Gratitude, like appreciating the good things in our lives, even the small ones.
Exactly. He said, you have to be grateful. You have to appreciate the things that you have. Gratitude, he sees it as a powerful way to counter negativity, to increase happiness and well-being.
I can see how that's true. When you focus on what you're grateful for, it's harder to get stuck in the negative stuff.
And he also talks about living in the present moment, savoring each experience, appreciating the beauty of life as it unfolds.
Being fully present, engaged in each moment, not dwelling on the past or worrying about the future.
That's it. He said, you have to live in the present moment. You have to be here now. By doing that, he says, we can really experience life and appreciate the beauty of every moment.
That's a great reminder because it's so easy to get lost in our thoughts. But when you really stop and pay attention to the present moment, there's so much to appreciate.
Exactly. And this idea of being present connects to his emphasis on faith.
Faith. You mean a belief in something bigger than ourselves?
It can be that, but he also talks about having faith in ourselves and our ability to achieve what we set out to do. He said, you have to have faith. You have to believe that anything is possible.
So believing in our own potential, trusting that even when things are hard, we have the strength to get through it.
He sees faith as this powerful force, helping us overcome obstacles and reach our dreams. And along with faith, he also emphasizes love.
Love. When we're talking leadership and societal change, how does that fit in?
He believes love, that deep compassion and connection with others, it's a basic human need. essential for a harmonious world. He said, you have to love, you have to connect with others.
So it's recognizing our shared humanity, finding ways to connect on a deeper level, even when we disagree.
Exactly. He sees love as the foundation for building communities, working together on the problems we all face. And with love comes forgiveness.
Forgiveness. That seems tough, especially when we talk about corruption and injustice.
He gets that it's hard, but he argues that holding on to anger and resentment only hurts us. He said, you have to forgive, you have to let go of the past.
So freeing ourselves from the past, creating space for healing, for ourselves and for others.
Exactly. Forgiveness is a gift we give to ourselves, letting us live more fully in the present. And that leads to his point about service to others.
Service to others. You mean volunteering, donating?
It can be that, but he's talking about something deeper. He said, you have to serve. You have to find a way to make a difference. He believes that helping others brings meaning and purpose to our lives.
So it's about recognizing that we're all connected and that making a positive impact, it brings us fulfillment.
He encourages us to use our skills and whatever we have to make that difference, whether it's through volunteering, donating, or even just being kind.
It's a good reminder that even small acts of kindness can have a big impact. But how do we connect this back to the big picture? How do we create a system that actually supports this kind of leadership and service?
That's a great question. And it brings us to another important idea he stresses, living a life of integrity.
Okay, tell me more about that. What does he say about integrity?
He defines it as aligning our actions with our values, living honestly, ethically, authentically. He said you have to be true to yourself. You have to live a life of integrity.
So walking the talk, being true to your word, doing what you believe is right, even when it's difficult.
Exactly. He believes that living with integrity is how we build trust with others, and it's essential for a more ethical and just world.
I get that. It's hard to trust someone who says one thing and does another. Integrity is about being consistent in our words and our actions.
He also encourages us to embrace our imperfections and be kind to ourselves.
Wait, so it's okay to make mistakes? You don't have to be perfect to be a good leader or make a difference.
Exactly. He encourages people to accept themselves as they are, knowing that we are all works in progress. He said, you have to embrace your imperfections. You have to be kind to yourself. This is a key part of growth and transformation.
So recognizing we're all human and messing up, it's part of learning. We don't have to beat ourselves up. Instead, we can use it as a chance to grow.
He also emphasizes living with a sense of wonder and awe.
You mean appreciating the beauty and mystery of life?
He encourages people to stay curious, to be amazed by the world. He said, you have to live with a sense of wonder. You have to be amazed by the world around you. He believes this can help us connect to something bigger than ourselves, find more meaning in our lives.
That's a beautiful thought. It's easy to lose that sense of wonder as we get older. But when you really take the time to appreciate the world, it's amazing.
He also talks about the importance of a positive attitude, believing that things can get better.
So even when times are tough, it's important to have hope, to be optimistic.
He encourages people to focus on the good, believe that things can improve. He said, you have to be optimistic. You have to believe that things can get better. Optimism can be contagious and inspire others to create a better world.
I see that. Negativity can be really draining. But when you surround yourself with positive people, positive ideas, it can be uplifting and motivating.
He also emphasizes finding balance in our lives.
Balance. You mean finding that sweet spot between work and play, taking care of ourselves and taking care of others.
He encourages people to nurture every part of themselves. He said, you have to find balance. You have to nurture all aspects of your being. That balance can come through mindfulness, meditation, time in nature, and connecting with loved ones.
So taking care of our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual needs.
He sees that as crucial for well-being and for being able to show up in the world.
It makes sense. When one part of our life is out of balance, it can throw everything else off. And along with balance, he talks about following our hearts. You mean trusting our gut and going after the things we're passionate about?
Yes. He encourages people to listen to their inner voice and chase those things that light them up. He said, you have to follow your heart. You have to trust your intuition. That, he says, can lead to a more fulfilling life.
Finding that thing that makes us come alive, pursuing it with passion.
He also talks about the importance of courage.
Courage. Being willing to step outside our comfort zone, to take chances.
He wants us to step into the unknown, pursue our dreams, even when it's scary. He said, you have to be courageous. You have to be willing to take risks. This courage helps us overcome fears, reach our goals, and live a more fulfilling life.
So facing our fears and taking action, even when we don't know what will happen.
He sees courage as a vital ingredient for growth.
Makes sense. We often grow the most when we're outside our comfort zone. Along with courage, he talks about patience. Patience. I can definitely see how that's important for a large-scale change.
He acknowledges that change takes time. He said, you have to be patient. You have to trust in the process. He's encouraging us to trust that things will unfold as they should and to enjoy the journey.
Don't get discouraged when things don't happen overnight. Trust that consistent effort will get results eventually.
He also emphasizes not giving up on our dreams, continuing to strive towards our goals, even when we hit roadblocks.
So it's about having that grit, that determination to keep going, even when it's tough.
He said, you have to persevere. You have to never give up on your dreams. He believes that perseverance is essential for achieving anything worthwhile in life, and by developing the strength to keep going, we can overcome any obstacle.
That's a great message because it's easy to feel discouraged when things don't go our way. But often it's the ability to bounce back from those setbacks that determines our success.
He also talks about having a strong support system.
You mean having people around us who love and support us and who believe in what we can do.
He believes that we're not meant to go through life alone, and having a supportive network of family, friends, and mentors can make a world of difference. He said, you have to have a strong support system. You have to surround yourself with people who love and support you.
I agree. Having people in your corner who believe in you makes all the difference, especially when you're struggling.
And he also emphasizes celebrating our successes.
Not just focusing on what we haven't achieved, but taking time to appreciate what we have accomplished.
He encourages us to take time to appreciate our accomplishments and give ourselves credit for the progress we've made. He said, you have to celebrate your successes. You have to acknowledge your achievements.
I like that. Celebrating our successes helps us stay motivated and see how far we've come.
He also encourages learning from our mistakes, viewing setbacks as opportunities for growth.
Not letting our mistakes define us, but using them to learn and evolve.
He said, you have to learn from your mistakes. You have to view setbacks as opportunities for growth. He encourages us to find the valuable lessons in our experiences and use them to make better decisions in the future.
That's a good point. Our biggest mistakes can sometimes lead to our biggest breakthroughs.
And he emphasizes the importance of humor.
Humor. When we're talking about personal growth and societal change, how does that fit in?
Well, he believes that laughter can be a powerful antidote to stress. He encourages people to find ways to bring humor into their lives.
So not taking ourselves too seriously, finding ways to lighten up, even when things are tough.
He sees humor as a way to stay grounded and to find joy, even when facing challenges.
Makes sense. When you can laugh at yourself, it's harder to get bogged down by the tough stuff. And speaking of connections, he also talks about being present in our relationships.
Absolutely. He emphasizes how important it is to nurture our relationships, to be fully engaged with the people we love. He said, you have to be present in your relationships. You have to be fully engaged with the people you love.
It's about putting the phones down, turning off the TV, and really connecting with the people we care about.
And along with that, he encourages expressing our love and appreciation to the people in our lives.
Letting them know how much they mean to us, showing them how much we care.
He believes that showing love and appreciation can make our relationships stronger and enrich our lives in so many ways. He said, you have to express your love. You have to let people know how much you care.
I agree. Sometimes we forget to say the important things, but letting people know how much we care can make all the difference.
He also talks about the importance of forgiveness in relationships.
Forgiveness can be really hard, especially when someone has hurt us deeply.
He understands that forgiveness is challenging, but argues that it's essential for healthy relationships. He encourages letting go of past hurts to create space for healing.
So it's about recognizing that we all make mistakes. Holding on to anger only hurts us in the long run.
He sees forgiveness as something we do for ourselves, to free us from the burdens of the past.
And along with forgiveness, communication is important too, right?
Absolutely. He emphasizes being open and honest with each other and really listening to each other's needs and perspectives. He said, you have to communicate. You have to be open and honest with each other.
So creating a space where we can share our feelings openly without being judged.
Exactly. Clear and compassionate communication is key to building trust and solving problems together.
When we communicate effectively, it's easier to understand each other and get through tough times.
And he also talks about setting healthy boundaries in our relationships.
Boundaries. knowing our limits and being clear with others about them.
He believes boundaries are crucial for healthy relationships. He encourages us to respect each other's needs and limits and communicate those boundaries respectfully.
So making sure both partners feel safe and respected.
Right. And he also stresses the importance of spending quality time together.
So not just being physically present, but being fully engaged and creating those shared experiences that bond us.
He encourages people to make time for the people they love and to create memories together. He said, you have to spend quality time together. You have to create shared experiences.
Shared experiences can bring us closer and create a deeper connection.
He also talks about supporting each other's dreams and aspirations.
Being each other's cheerleaders, helping each other reach our goals.
He believes that our loved ones can be our biggest source of strength. He said, you have to support each other's dreams. You have to be each other's cheerleaders.
It's true, having someone who believes in you can make all the difference in the world.
And he emphasizes being there for each other through good times and bad.
Showing up during tough times and celebrating the wins.
Exactly. True love and friendship mean being there for each other through all of life's ups and downs. He said, you have to be there for each other. You have to support each other through thick and thin.
Our relationships are such a gift. It's so important to invest in them and appreciate the joy they bring.
He also talks about appreciating the unique qualities each person brings to their relationship.
So valuing the things that make each person special, recognizing that everyone brings something different to the table.
He believes that healthy relationships involve appreciating each other for who we are. He said, you have to appreciate each other. You have to recognize each other's unique qualities and contributions.
I love that. It's about celebrating each other's strengths and learning from our differences.
And he also emphasizes the importance of creating a shared vision for the future.
Working towards common goals. Building a fulfilling life together.
He believes that relationships are strongest when there's a sense of shared purpose. Working towards common goals strengthens our bond and creates unity. He said, you have to create a shared vision. You have to work together towards common goals.
When you're both working towards the same things, it brings you closer.
He also talks about the importance of keeping things fun and exciting.
Keeping the spark alive, trying new things, finding ways to keep the relationship fresh.
He encourages us to find ways to keep things fun. He said, you have to have fun. You have to keep the spark alive.
It's easy to get stuck in a routine. Making time for fun can make such a difference.
He also emphasizes continuing to grow as individuals within the relationship.
Supporting each other's growth, allowing each other the space to become our best selves.
He believes that healthy relationships need both individual and collective growth. He said, you have to grow and evolve together. You have to support each other's personal growth.
It's about finding that balance between being a supportive partner and giving each other space to pursue individual passions.
He also talks about the importance of practicing gratitude for each other.
Appreciating the good things in the relationship, recognizing all the ways our partner enriches our lives.
He encourages people to make a conscious effort to appreciate their partners and to express that appreciation regularly. He said, you have to practice gratitude. You have to appreciate each other.
It's about making the effort to cultivate love, joy, and connection every day.
Exactly. And this emphasis on building positive relationships, it reminds me of something else he said that might surprise you. He actually suggests limiting our exposure to negative news.
Really? He thinks too much negativity is bad for us.
He believes it can lead to feelings of hopelessness and make it harder to feel happy.
I get that. When you're feeling down, it's harder to see the good.
He even suggests skipping the front page of the newspaper and the news channels. Instead, he says to focus on the positive things happening in our own lives.
Shifting our focus from the problems to the good things that are happening.
He argues that this shifting perspective can make a big difference in our outlook and our ability to create a more positive life. And he makes this really interesting point about the value of human beings. It made me think. He uses the example of a mango tree.
Okay, tell me about this mango tree analogy.
He says a mango tree doesn't have to justify its existence by producing fruit that's sold in the market. It's beautiful and valuable just as it is.
So he's saying humans have inherent value, just like the mango tree. We don't have to constantly prove our worth by what we do.
Exactly. We have value just by existing.
That's a powerful thought. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that our worth comes from what we achieve. He's reminding us that our value comes from simply being human.
It's a reminder to slow down, appreciate the simple things, and be kind and compassionate. find meaning beyond what we achieve.
Speaking of cultures, we talked earlier about how culture can be both good and bad.
Yeah.
What does he say specifically about India's culture?
Well, he points out that India has this ancient, resilient culture that has survived so much change. It's amazing how much it's endured, all those invasions, all the changes the country's been through.
Yeah, and it still has this strong sense of identity.
He sees that resilience as a good thing, for sure.
Yeah.
But he also points out that some parts of Indian culture, like the caste system, have been really harmful, holding the country back.
That's a good point, because it's easy to look at the past with rose-colored glasses, But not everything was great back then.
Right. He's not saying we should throw out tradition completely, but he is saying we need to be aware of the good and the bad and challenge those traditions that aren't working anymore.
So finding a balance between honoring the past and moving forward.
He's all about a more nuanced approach to culture, recognizing it can be a source of strength, but also hold us back.
And that connects back to his point about building a nation from the ground up, starting with the people.
Exactly. He criticizes that top-down approach to development where policies get imposed on people without considering their needs.
So it's about empowering people, letting them create a society that reflects their values.
That's the idea, and education is a big part of that.
Okay, but we talked about how he's not a fan of the current education system in India. He says it's failing to give young people the skills they need.
He believes it needs a complete overhaul. Move away from rote memorization and focus more on critical thinking, creativity, practical skills.
Teach them how to think, not just what to think. Give them tools they can actually use in the real world.
Exactly. He thinks the current system is creating a generation that's unprepared for the challenges of today.
Which leads us back to all that frustration and unrest. If young people can't find decent work, build a good life, things are going to get unstable.
He's worried about that for sure. He even said India is sitting on a time bomb because of the lack of opportunities.
Whoa, a time bomb. That's a pretty serious statement.
He's definitely sounding the alarm. He thinks if we don't invest in young people and create a system where they can thrive, the consequences could be disastrous. And this urgency, it also comes through in his views on leadership.
What do you mean?
He thinks leaders need to take action, make tough choices, put the people's needs ahead of their own.
So he doesn't like politicians who are more worried about staying in power than actually making things better.
He's critical of that for sure. He even said something like, if you have 5 years in office, do a good job and lose your power. What's the big deal?
I love that. He's saying do what's right, even if it costs you the election.
Exactly. True leadership is about service, putting others first.
Which goes back to what he said about power. It's not inherently bad, it's how you use it.
He even said, if you're clean within you and you have the right intent, why don't you want power? I want all the power in the world. Only then you can do something. It really makes you think.
It does. So he's saying if you have good intentions and a vision, then you should go for power to make that vision a reality.
Exactly. True leaders don't shy away from power. They use it to make positive change.
That's powerful. But how does that connect to the issues we were talking about? The poverty, the lack of opportunity, the struggling education system.
He believes that to solve those problems, you need strong leadership. People who step up, make those tough decisions, and see them through.
Having the vision, the courage, and the will to make things happen.
Exactly. He wants leaders who are visionary but also pragmatic, people who get things done.
And that goes back to what he said about actually putting things into practice. Having good ideas isn't enough. You have to make them happen.
Right. He gave this example of government files filled with great plans for rural development. They often go nowhere because nobody can implement them effectively.
So you need capable people who are motivated to make a difference.
Exactly. Skillful, knowledgeable, driven, people who can turn plans into reality.
So he's looking for that combination of visionary thinking and practical action.
He believes that's what India needs to tackle these challenges and build a better future.
So back to our original question, how do you build a great nation? It sounds like his answer is that it starts with people. Cultivating those qualities, leadership, integrity, compassion, a desire to serve.
He believes if we foster those qualities, we can build a society that's not just prosperous, but also fair, just, and caring. A place where everyone has the chance to succeed and reach their full potential.
That's a hopeful vision. Makes you think about what each of us can do to make that happen.
He'd agree with that. He believes individual action is crucial for positive change.
It's not about waiting for someone else to fix things. It's about taking responsibility for our own lives, our communities, and the world around us.
Exactly. And this leads to another key point he makes. True happiness True fulfillment, it comes from within.
So it's not about external validation or stuff. It's about that inner peace, that sense of contentment.
He believes when we find happiness within, we don't need to look for it in outside things, and we're more likely to act in ways that benefit others.
It makes sense. When you're happy with who you are, you don't need validation. You can act from a place of compassion.
He also talks about how our thoughts and emotions really affect how we experience the world.
So being aware of our own thought patterns and how to manage our emotions.
Exactly. He believes if we master our inner world, we can create a more positive experience for ourselves and those around us.
It's about taking control of our minds, focusing on the good, even when things are tough.
Mindfulness, gratitude, compassion. He encourages these practices as ways to create inner peace.
Being present, appreciating what we have, treating ourselves and others with kindness.
He believes these things can really transform how we experience the world and make us more effective at creating change.
I see that. When you're feeling calm and grateful, it's easier to handle challenges with a clear head and a kind heart.
And it's easier to inspire others to join us in building a better world.
This makes me think about how everything is connected, how our inner state influences our actions, and those actions shape the world.
He would agree with that. He sees us as part of this larger web of life, interconnected and interdependent.
So what happens to one part affects the whole.
Exactly. He believes our actions ripple outwards, impacting not just our own lives, but also the lives of others and the world as a whole.
It reminds us that we're all in this together, and even small acts of kindness and compassion can make a difference.
He encourages us to think about our impact and to act in ways that are good for everyone.
So recognizing our interconnectedness and acting with love, compassion, and responsibility.
He believes that's the key to a more just, peaceful, and sustainable world.
This has been such an insightful conversation. It's incredible how much wisdom and insight he brings to these discussions.
It is. He has this knack for connecting seemingly different ideas and giving a fresh perspective on complex issues.
I'm curious about his views on the specific problems India faces, like poverty and inequality. Does he offer any solutions?
He does. He sees poverty as more than just a lack of money, but also a lack of opportunity, education, and empowerment.
So creating a system where people have the tools and resources they need to get out of poverty.
Exactly. He thinks we need to invest in education, healthcare, and infrastructure, especially in rural areas.
Those are the building blocks for a society where everyone has a chance.
He also talks about how important it is to empower women.
Giving them equal opportunities in education, work, and leadership.
Yes. He sees empowering women as critical for economic growth and social progress. They're a powerful force for positive change.
It's true. When women are empowered, everyone benefits.
He also talks about tackling environmental problems.
Climate change, pollution, deforestation, those kinds of things.
He sees environmental damage as a major threat to India's future. He wants a more sustainable approach to development, balancing economic growth with protecting the environment.
Finding ways to meet our needs today without messing things up for future generations.
He believes that protecting the environment is crucial for everyone's well-being.
That brings us back to his point about interconnectedness. Everything is connected. Harming the environment means we're ultimately harming ourselves.
He also talks about promoting peace and harmony.
Finding ways to resolve conflict and create a more harmonious society.
He sees conflict and violence as huge obstacles to progress. He advocates for dialogue, understanding, and compassion to bridge divides between people.
Finding common ground, working together, even when we have differences.
Exactly. For him, peace isn't just the absence of fighting, it's something positive we have to actively work towards.
It reminds me of what he said about inner peace. A peaceful world starts with peace within ourselves.
Exactly. Inner peace is the foundation.
This deep dive has been fascinating. It's amazing how he connects these big ideas about leadership, societal change, and personal growth.
He has a way of weaving spiritual insights, practical wisdom, and a deep understanding of human nature.
It gives you a lot to think about. He believes that to create a better world, each of us has to take responsibility for our lives and act in ways that benefit everyone.
He believes that we all have the potential to make a difference. Working together and using our inner resources, we can build a more just, compassionate, and sustainable world.
It's a powerful message of hope and empowerment. It makes you wonder what steps we can take to make these ideas a reality.
That's a great question, and it brings us to another key point: finding our own unique path.
So it's not about copying someone else or following a set of rules.
He believes we each have a unique role to play. Our path will unfold in its own way, in its own time.
So trusting our inner guidance and our intuition.
He encourages us to listen to our hearts, explore possibilities, and be open to new experiences.
So it's about finding what truly resonates with us, what excites us, and what aligns with our values.
When we follow our own path, we're more likely to feel fulfilled and contribute something meaningful to the world.
Embracing our individuality, trusting that we each have something special to offer.
Exactly. And finding our path isn't a one-time thing. It's a continuous journey of discovery and growth.
So being open to new possibilities, trying things out, and trusting that we'll figure it out along the way.
He also encourages people to embrace change.
A lot of people are afraid of change, I think.
He sees it as a natural part of life. Resisting it only causes suffering. He wants people to see change as a chance to grow.
So finding the potential for good even in difficult situations.
Embracing change makes us more adaptable, more resilient, and open to new opportunities.
It's about letting go of how we think things should be and going with the flow.
He also talks about cultivating a sense of wonder.
Appreciating the beauty and mystery of life.
Exactly. He encourages us to be curious and to be amazed by the world around us.
It's about seeing the world with new eyes and appreciating the simple things.
He believes that cultivating a sense of wonder connects us to something larger than ourselves. We find a deeper sense of meaning and purpose.
It's about rediscovering that magic we often lose as we get older.
He also talks about the importance of having a positive attitude, believing in a brighter future.
So even when things are hard, staying hopeful and optimistic.
He believes our attitude has a huge impact on our experience. When we choose to focus on the positive, we create a more fulfilling life.
Focusing on the good things helps us feel happier, more motivated, and inspired.
Exactly. He also talks about the importance of balance in our lives.
Finding that sweet spot between work and play. Taking care of ourselves and others.
He believes true well-being comes from taking care of every part of ourselves. Physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual.
Creating a life that's both fulfilling and sustainable.
He encourages us to find that balance through mindfulness, meditation, spending time in nature, and connecting with loved ones.
And he also talks about following our hearts.
He believes we each have a unique path to follow, and our intuition can guide us to a more fulfilling life.
So it's about listening to that inner voice and trusting that it will lead us in the right direction.
He encourages people to be brave, to step out of their comfort zones, and to chase their dreams.
Being willing to take risks and embrace the unknown.
He sees courage as essential for growth and transformation.
It's true. We often discover our true potential when we step outside of our comfort zones.
He also talks about the importance of patience.
Patience. That can be a tough one, especially in our fast-paced world.
He knows that change takes time. He encourages us to trust the process of growth and transformation.
So being patient with ourselves and with the world around us.
He also emphasizes perseverance, not giving up on our dreams, keeping striving for our goals, even when we face setbacks.
It's about having grit, determination, and the will to keep going when things get tough.
He believes that perseverance is essential for achieving anything worthwhile in life.
That's a good point. It's often our ability to overcome obstacles that determines our success.
He also talks about the importance of having a strong support system.
Having people around us who believe in us and support us.
He believes we're not meant to go through life alone. Having a supportive network of family, friends, and mentors is crucial.
Having people in your corner who believe in you makes a huge difference.
He also emphasizes the importance of celebrating our successes.
So taking the time to acknowledge our achievements and appreciate our progress.
He believes that celebrating our wins, big or small, can boost our confidence and motivation.
It's about giving ourselves credit for what we accomplish.
He also encourages us to learn from our mistakes, see setbacks as opportunities to grow.
So not dwelling on mistakes, but using them as learning experiences to evolve.
He believes our mistakes can teach us valuable lessons and make us stronger.
Sometimes our biggest mistakes lead to our biggest breakthroughs.
He also talks about the importance of having a sense of humor.
Humor. When we're talking about personal growth and societal change, how does that fit in?
Well, he believes laughter can help us cope with stress. He encourages us to find ways to bring humor into our lives.
So not taking ourselves too seriously, finding ways to lighten up even in tough times.
He sees humor as a way to keep things in perspective and find joy even when things are challenging.
It makes sense. Laughter can help us stay positive and avoid negativity.
He also talks about the importance of being present in our relationships.
Being fully engaged with the people we love.
Exactly. He thinks relationships are a very important part of life, and nurturing them requires us to be present.
Putting away distractions and truly connecting with those around us.
He also encourages expressing love and appreciation to the people in our lives.
Letting them know they matter, showing them we care.
He believes that showing love and appreciation can make our relationships stronger and enrich our lives.
It's so true. We sometimes forget to express those things, but they can make a huge difference in our relationships.
He also talks about forgiveness in relationships.
Forgiveness. That can be really hard when someone has hurt us.
He understands that forgiveness is challenging, but he thinks it's crucial for healthy relationships. He encourages us to let go of past hurts so we can heal and move forward.
It's about recognizing that we all make mistakes, and holding on to anger only hurts us in the end.
He sees forgiveness as a gift to ourselves, freeing us from the past.
And communication is important too, right?
Absolutely. He emphasizes open and honest communication and listening to each other's needs and perspectives.
Creating a safe space to share our thoughts and feelings openly.
Exactly. Clear and compassionate communication is so important for building trust and resolving conflict.
When we communicate well, we understand each other better and can work through difficulties together.
He also talks about setting healthy boundaries in relationships.
Boundaries. Knowing our limits and communicating them clearly.
He believes boundaries are key for healthy relationships, respecting each other's needs and limits, and communicating those boundaries respectfully.
So both partners feel safe and respected.
Right. He also emphasizes the importance of quality time together.
Not just being physically present, but being engaged and creating shared experiences.
Exactly. He encourages us to make time for the people we love and create memories together.
Those shared experiences can create strong bonds and bring us closer.
He also talks about the importance of supporting each other's dreams and aspirations.
Being each other's cheerleaders and helping each other achieve our goals.
Yes. He believes our loved ones can be our greatest supporters. Encouraging each other and believing in each other's potential helps us achieve great things.
It's true. Having someone who believes in you makes a world of difference.
He also emphasizes the importance of being there for each other through everything.
Being supportive during tough times and celebrating the good times together.
Exactly. Real love and friendship mean being there through all of life's ups and downs.
That's a beautiful reminder that relationships are precious, and we should invest in them and appreciate the joy they bring.
He also talks about appreciating the unique qualities each person brings to the relationship.
Recognizing that everyone brings something special to the table and valuing those differences.
Exactly. Healthy relationships involve appreciating each other for who we are, recognizing our strengths, and celebrating our differences.
It's beautiful. Seeing the good in each other, appreciating each other's unique gifts.
And he also emphasizes the importance of creating a shared vision for the future.
Working towards shared goals and building a fulfilling life together.
Yes. He believes that relationships thrive when we have a shared sense of purpose. Working towards common goals strengthens our bond and creates a sense of unity.
When you're both striving for the same things, it brings you closer together.
He also talks about the importance of keeping things fun in the relationship.
Keeping that spark alive, trying new things together and keeping things exciting.
Exactly. He encourages finding ways to have fun and keep the spark alive, whether it's shared hobbies, travel, new experiences, or just making time for play and laughter.
It's so easy to get stuck in a rut. Making time for fun and connection can really make a difference.
He also emphasizes the importance of continuing to grow as individuals within the relationship.
Supporting each other's growth and allowing each other's space to become our best selves.
He believes healthy relationships need both individual and collective growth. By supporting each other's personal development, we create a dynamic and fulfilling partnership where both people can thrive.
It's finding that balance between being a supportive partner and allowing each other the freedom to pursue our own interests and passions.
He also talks about practicing gratitude for each other.
Taking time to appreciate all the good things our partner brings to our lives.
Yes. He encourages making a conscious effort to appreciate our partners and express that appreciation regularly. It's about cherishing the relationship and making a daily effort to nurture love, joy, and connection.
It's about remembering why we fell in love in the first place and making that love grow stronger every day.
And this emphasis on nurturing positive relationships reminds me of something else he said. He actually suggests limiting our exposure to negative news.
Really, too much negativity can be harmful.
He believes that constantly being bombarded with negativity can make us feel hopeless and make it harder to be happy and fulfilled.
I get that. When you're feeling down, it's harder to see the good things.
He even suggests avoiding the front page of the newspaper and news channels. Instead, he says to focus on the positive things happening in your life and your community.
So shift our focus from problems to solutions, from what's going wrong to what's going right.
Exactly. He argues that shifting our perspective like this can make a big difference in our outlook and our ability to live a more positive and fulfilling life. He also talks about something really fascinating, the value of human beings. He uses an analogy of a mango tree.
A mango tree, tell me more.
He says a mango tree doesn't have to prove its worth by producing fruit. It's beautiful and valuable just by being itself.
So he's saying that humans have inherent value, just like that tree. We don't always have to prove ourselves through achievements.
Exactly. We have value just because we exist.
That's a powerful thought. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that we have to constantly achieve to be worthy. But he's saying that our value comes from simply being human.
It's a good reminder to slow down, appreciate the simple joys of life, and cultivate kindness and compassion, to find meaning beyond achievements.
That's a beautiful message. It makes me think about the importance of self-acceptance. We don't have to be perfect to be worthy of love and belonging.
He'd definitely agree with that. He believes self-acceptance is key to happiness and well-being.
He also talks about the importance of living in the present moment.
Savoring each experience and appreciating the beauty of life as it unfolds.
Exactly. Being fully present and engaged in each moment.
Yes. He encourages us to focus on the here and now rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future.
So it's about being present and mindful in each moment.
That's it. He believes that when we're present, we experience life more fully and appreciate those simple joys that we often miss.
It's easy to get lost in our thoughts and worries, but when we focus on the present moment, there is so much to appreciate.
Exactly. And he also talks about the importance of having faith.
You mean belief in something bigger than ourselves?
It can be that, but he also talks about faith in ourselves and our ability to achieve our goals.
So believing in our own potential and our strength to overcome challenges.
Yes. He believes that faith can give us the courage to pursue our dreams and keep going when things are tough.
When we believe in ourselves and in something bigger than ourselves, we find the strength to persevere.
And he also talks about the importance of love.
Love, in the context of personal growth and societal change.
He believes love is a powerful force for good in the world. By nurturing love in our hearts, we create a more compassionate and just society.
So seeing the good in others, even those who are different from us, treating everyone with kindness and respect.
Exactly. He also talks about the importance of forgiveness.
Forgiveness is really tough, especially when we've been hurt deeply.
He understands that it's challenging, but he believes it's necessary for healing and moving forward.
Letting go of past hurts and resentments to create a more peaceful future.
Forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves, freeing us from the burden of the past.
And he also talks about service to others.
He believes that serving others is an essential part of a meaningful life. He encourages people to use their talents and resources to make a difference.
So it's about recognizing our interconnectedness and that our actions have an impact on the world.
He encourages us to act in ways that benefit everyone, now and in the future.
It reminds us that we are all interconnected, and that by helping others, we ultimately help ourselves.
He also talks about the importance of living a life of integrity.
What does he have to say about integrity?
He believes it means aligning our actions with our values, being true to our word, honest and ethical.
So, walking the talk and being the same person on the inside and outside.
He sees integrity as the foundation of trust, necessary for a fair and just society.
I see that. It's hard to trust someone who doesn't act in line with what they say. Integrity is about being genuine and true to ourselves and others.
He also encourages us to embrace our imperfections and be kind to ourselves.
So it's okay to make mistakes. We don't have to be perfect to be worthy of love and belonging.
He wants us to accept ourselves as we are and recognize that we're all works in progress.
So let go of the need for perfection and embrace our imperfections as part of what makes us human.
He believes that self-acceptance is essential for happiness and well-being.
When we're constantly criticizing ourselves, it's difficult to feel good about ourselves or make positive changes.
And he also talks about living with a sense of wonder and awe.
Appreciating the beauty and mystery of life and finding joy in the little things.
Exactly. He wants us to cultivate a childlike sense of curiosity. and be amazed by the world around us.
It's like looking at the world with fresh eyes and rediscovering that sense of magic.
He believes that cultivating the sense of wonder can help us connect to something larger than ourselves and find a deeper sense of meaning and purpose.
It's about remembering the wonder and excitement we felt as children.
He also talks about the importance of having a positive attitude and believing in a brighter future.
So even when things are difficult, staying optimistic and hopeful.
He believes that our attitude greatly impacts our experience of life. By focusing on the positive, we can create a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
When we focus on the good, we feel happier, more motivated, and more inspired.
Exactly. He also talks about the importance of finding balance in our lives.
That sweet spot between work and play, taking care of ourselves and others.
He believes that well-being comes from nurturing all aspects of ourselves, our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual needs.
It's about creating a life that is both fulfilling and sustainable.
Exactly. He encourages us to find balance through practices like mindfulness, meditation, spending time in nature, and connecting with our loved ones.
He also talks about the importance of following our hearts,
Trusting our intuition and pursuing our passions.
listening to that inner voice, and trusting that it will guide us in the right direction.
He encourages people to be courageous, step out of their comfort zones, and chase their dreams.
So be willing to take risks and embrace the unknown.
Exactly. He believes courage is necessary for growth and transformation.
It's true that growth often happens when we step outside of our comfort zones.
He also talks about the importance of patience.
Patience. That's a tough one, especially in today's world.
He knows that change takes time. He encourages us to trust the process of growth and transformation.
So be patient with ourselves and with the world around us.
He also emphasizes perseverance. Never give up on your dreams. Keep striving for your goals even when facing challenges.
So it's about having that determination to keep going even when things get hard.
Exactly. He believes that perseverance is crucial for achieving anything meaningful.
Our ability to bounce back from setbacks often determines our success.
He also talks about the importance of having a strong support system.
Surrounding ourselves with people who love us, believe in us, and support us.
Exactly. He believes that we're not meant to go through life alone. A supportive network makes a huge difference.
Having people who believe in you is incredibly powerful, especially when you are facing challenges.
He also emphasizes celebrating our successes.
Taking the time to appreciate our accomplishments and the progress we make.
He believes that celebrating our successes, both big and small, helps us stay motivated and confident.
Giving ourselves credit for our accomplishments helps us see how far we've come.
He also encourages us to learn from our mistakes and view setbacks as opportunities for growth.
So instead of letting mistakes define us, use them as learning experiences to evolve.
Exactly. Our mistakes can teach us valuable lessons and help us become more resilient.
Sometimes our biggest mistakes lead to our greatest breakthroughs.
He also emphasizes the importance of humor.
In the context of personal growth and societal change, how does that fit in?
He believes that laughter is a powerful antidote to stress and encourages us to find ways to bring humor into our lives.
Not taking ourselves too seriously and finding ways to lighten up, even when things are tough.
Exactly. Humor helps us keep things in perspective and find joy, even during challenges.
It's true that when you can laugh at yourself, it's harder to get bogged down by negativity.
He also talks about the importance of being present in our relationships.
Being fully engaged with the people we love.
Absolutely. He believes that our relationships are one of the most important parts of our lives. Nurturing them requires being present and engaged.
Putting away distractions and giving our loved ones our full attention.
He also encourages expressing love and appreciation to those we care about.
Letting them know how much they mean to us, showing them we care.
Exactly. He believes that expressing love and appreciation strengthens our relationships and enriches our lives.
It's easy to forget to express those things, but they make a big difference.
He also talks about the importance of forgiveness in relationships.
Forgiveness is tough, especially when someone has hurt us deeply.
He understands it's challenging, but believes it is vital for healthy relationships. He encourages letting go of past hurts so we can heal and move forward.
It's about recognizing that we all make mistakes, and that holding on to anger only harms us in the end.
Exactly. He sees forgiveness as a gift we give ourselves, releasing us from the pain of the past.
He also talks about the importance of communication, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He stresses open and honest communication and truly listening to each other's needs and perspectives.
Creating an environment where we can safely share our thoughts and feelings without judgment.
Exactly. Open communication and compassionate listening are so important for trust and resolving conflict.
When we communicate well, we understand each other better and overcome challenges together.
He also talks about setting healthy boundaries.
Boundaries. Knowing our limits and communicating them clearly to others.
Exactly. He believes that setting boundaries is crucial for healthy relationships. It's about respecting each other's needs and limits and communicating those boundaries respectfully.
Making sure everyone feels safe, respected, and empowered.
He also emphasizes the importance of spending quality time together.
Not just being physically present, but being engaged and creating shared experiences that bond us.
Exactly. He encourages making time for loved ones and He encourages making time for loved ones and creating lasting memories together.
Those shared experiences can really strengthen relationships.
He also talks about supporting each other's dreams and aspirations.
Being each other's biggest cheerleaders and helping each other reach our goals.
Yes. He believes that our loved ones can be our greatest source of strength. Encouraging each other and believing in each other's dreams helps us achieve great things.
It's so true. Having someone believe in you can make all the difference.
He also emphasizes being there for each other through all of life's ups and downs.
The good times and the bad times.
Exactly. True love and friendship mean being there through it all.
It's a beautiful reminder that relationships are precious and we should cherish them.
He also talks about the importance of appreciating each other's unique qualities.
Recognizing that everyone brings something special to the table.
Exactly. Healthy relationships mean appreciating each other for who we are, acknowledging strengths, and celebrating our differences.
It's about seeing the good in each other and appreciating each other's unique gifts.
And he also emphasizes the importance of creating a shared vision for the future.
Working towards shared goals and building a fulfilling life together.
Yes. Relationships thrive when we have a shared sense of purpose. Working towards common goals strengthens our bond and creates a sense of unity.
When we're both striving for the same things, it brings us closer together.
He also talks about the importance of keeping things fun.
Keeping that spark alive, trying new things, and making sure things stay exciting.
Exactly. He encourages finding ways to have fun together, whether it's shared hobbies, travel, new experiences, or just making time for play and laughter.
It's easy to get stuck in a routine. Making time for fun and connection can really make a difference.
He also emphasizes the importance of continuing to grow as individuals within the relationship.
Supporting each other's growth and allowing each other the space to become our best selves.
He believes that healthy relationships need both individual and collective growth. By supporting each other's personal development, we create a strong and fulfilling partnership where both people can thrive.
It's about finding that balance, right? Being supportive, but also giving each other freedom to pursue our passions.
He also talks about practicing gratitude for each other.
Appreciating the good things our partner brings to our lives.
Yes, it's about cherishing the relationship and making an effort to nurture love, joy, and connection every single day.
It's about remembering why we fell in love in the first place and letting that love grow.
And this emphasis on building those positive relationships, it reminds me of something else he said. He actually suggests limiting our exposure to negative news.
Really? He thinks too much negativity is bad for us.
He believes that being constantly bombarded with negativity can make us feel hopeless.
It makes sense. When you're down, it's harder to see the good.
He even suggests skipping the front page of the newspaper and the news. Instead, he says to focus on the positive things happening in your own life and your community.
Shifting our focus from problems to solutions, from the negative to the positive.
Exactly. Shifting our perspective like this can make a big difference in our outlook and our ability to live a more positive life. He also makes this really interesting point about the value of human beings. He uses the analogy of a mango tree.
A mango tree, okay, tell me more.
He says a mango tree doesn't have to prove its worth by producing fruit. It's beautiful and valuable just by being itself.
So he's saying humans have inherent value, just like that tree. We don't have to constantly prove our worth through our achievements.
Exactly. We have value simply because we exist.
That's a powerful thought. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that we have to constantly achieve things to be worthy. But he's reminding us that our value comes from simply being human.
It's a good reminder to slow down and appreciate life's simple joys, to cultivate kindness and compassion, and to find meaning beyond achievements.
That's a beautiful message. It makes me think about self-acceptance. We don't need to be perfect to be worthy of love and belonging.
He'd definitely agree with that. He believes self-acceptance is key to happiness and well-being.
And he also talks about the importance of living in the present moment.
Savoring each experience, appreciating the beauty of life as it unfolds.
Being fully present, engaged in each moment.
Yes. He encourages us to focus on the here and now instead of dwelling on the past or worrying about the future.
It's about being present and mindful, right?
That's it. He believes that when we live in the present moment, we experience life more fully and appreciate those simple joys that we often miss.
It's true. We often get lost in thoughts and worries. But when we focus on the present moment, there's so much to appreciate.
Exactly. And he also talks about having faith.
You mean a belief in something bigger than ourselves?
It can be that. But he also talks about faith in ourselves, in our ability to reach our goals.
So believing in our potential and trusting that we have the strength to get through challenges.
Yes. He believes that faith gives us the courage to pursue our dreams and to persevere when things get tough.
It's about having faith in ourselves and in something greater than ourselves. That can give us the strength to keep going, even when things are difficult.
And he also talks about the importance of love.
Love, in the context of personal growth and making a difference in the world.
He believes love is a powerful force for good in the world. Cultivating love in our hearts helps us create a more compassionate and just society.
So it's about seeing the good in others, even those who are different from us, treating everyone with kindness and respect.
Exactly. He also talks about the importance of forgiveness.
Forgiveness is hard, especially when someone has hurt us deeply.
He understands it's challenging, but he believes forgiveness is necessary for healing and moving forward.
It's about letting go of those past hurts and resentments and working towards a more peaceful future.
Forgiveness is a gift to ourselves, freeing us from the burden of the past.
And he also talks about service to others.
He believes that serving others is an essential part of a meaningful life. He encourages using our talents and resources to make a positive impact on the world.
So it's about realizing that we're all connected and that our actions have a ripple effect.
He encourages us to act in ways that benefit everyone, both now and in the future.
It reminds us that we're all in this together, and that even small acts of kindness can make a difference.
He also talks about the importance of living a life of integrity.
What does he have to say about integrity?
He defines integrity as aligning our actions with our values, being true to our word, and living honestly and ethically.
So walking the talk, being the same person on the inside and outside.
Exactly. He sees integrity as essential for building trust and creating a more just and equitable world.
It's hard to trust people who say one thing and do another. Integrity is about being genuine and true to ourselves and to others.
And he also encourages us to embrace our imperfections, be kind to ourselves.
So it's okay to make mistakes. We don't have to be perfect to be worthy of love and belonging.
He encourages self-acceptance and recognizing that we are all works in progress.
It's about letting go of the need for perfection and embracing our imperfections as part of what makes us human.
He believes that self-acceptance is fundamental to happiness and well-being.
It makes sense. If we constantly criticize ourselves, it's hard to feel good about ourselves or to create positive changes.
And he also talks about living with a sense of wonder.
Appreciating the beauty and mystery of life, finding joy in the simple things.
Exactly. He encourages people to cultivate that childlike curiosity and to be amazed by the world around them.
It's about seeing the world with fresh eyes and rediscovering that sense of magic and wonder that we often lose as we get older.
He believes that cultivating a sense of wonder can connect us to something larger than ourselves, and that it can help us find a deeper sense of meaning and purpose in our lives.
This brings us full circle to something we were talking about earlier. Remember India's ancient culture. The spiritual leader said that the quest for eternal truth is at the heart of Indian culture. Do you think that's still true today?
He seems to think so. He sees that constant searching and questioning as a strength, a driving force behind India's intellectual and spiritual growth.
But couldn't that also be a weakness? I mean, if you're always searching for answers, could that also mean you're never satisfied with what you have?
That's an interesting point. He does caution against getting too attached to any one belief system or ideology. It's like he's warning against dogma.
Because when we become rigid in our thinking, we close ourselves off to new possibilities. And that can stifle progress, right? Both personally and as a society.
He encourages people to keep an open mind, be willing to question their assumptions, and be open to learning from others.
So it's about finding that balance, holding on to your values, but also being open to new ideas and perspectives.
He sees that as essential for growth. both for us as individuals and for society as a whole.
This deep dive has been fascinating. We've covered so much, from leadership qualities to the challenges facing India's young people to the importance of inner peace and happiness.
We've explored how culture, government, and individual responsibility all play a role in shaping our lives and the world.
And we've seen how our inner world can profoundly impact our actions and the world around us.
It's been a thought-provoking journey through some of humanity's most important issues.
So as we wrap up, what's one key takeaway you'd like our listeners to remember?
The importance of recognizing our interconnectedness, both with each other and with the world around us.
We are all part of something bigger than ourselves, and our actions matter.
He believes that cultivating a sense of interconnectedness is how we create a more just, compassionate, and sustainable world for all.
What about you? What stood out to you most from this deep dive?
I think it was his emphasis on inner transformation, that it's the foundation for making a real difference in the world.
It's a powerful idea. He believes that inner peace, clarity, and compassion make us more effective at creating positive change.
True change starts within. By working on ourselves, we can make a bigger difference out in the world.
And it's about enjoying the journey, finding joy in the process, and trusting that we have the strength to overcome challenges.
That's a beautiful message of hope. It's a reminder that each of us has the power to create a brighter future, both for ourselves and the world.
So let's leave our listeners with a question to consider.
I like that. What question should we ask them?
If you could design a system that helped everyone reach their full potential, what would it look like? What would you include from these different ideas we've talked about today? That's a great question to end on, because ultimately it's about building a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive and contribute their unique talents and find meaning and purpose in their lives. Until next time, keep diving deep.